Well, hello there. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. And you're thinking, who's that weird guy? My name is Michael. You probably saw me about working for In Control and SLD and a lot of different disability organisations over the years. And I'm a freelance journalist as well. I'm delighted to be here today and delighted to be joined by I was going to say my fan club, but I suppose I don't want to be too big head. But I've said it now, so you know. So, my name, of course, is Mike McTune, and I'm joined by Pauline and Alaska. Hi, guys.
Hi, Michael. What an introduction, Gizo. You're showing us up.
I know. This is far more impressive than usual, and we've got guests today. We've got Ian in person, Ian Stones, and joining us from Ireland, we've got Fiona and Jonathan. Hello,
everyone.
Hello there.
So this week is Learn Disability Week, and the theme is sort of leading change, isn't it? It's lead to change. So we're just going to go straight into it this week with a discussion with Fiona and Jonathan about what leadership means to them, what their kind of path to success has been, and what the challenges have been. So just, do you want to take it away? How's your journey to leadership been?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us again.
Our pleasure.
What leadership means to me, well, I have the answer actually. What leadership means.
Do you want to say it in a general way first?
Right now, yeah.
We're going to do a bit of show and tell.
Yeah, we are. So I am really excited about leadership because I am on the stakeholders group for the new decision support service, which is a new branch of Irish government.
Yes, and you've been involved in a lot of different government groups and local groups and different forms of leadership collectively.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you about playing your fiddle.
Okay.
Because that's a different kind of leadership.
Yes.
So what do you do there? Or where do you play your fiddle most often?
I play my fiddle on Sharp Street here in Galway.
And Galway's a great city for busking. I don't know if anything in Scotland compares, but probably. But Galway's got a great scene, and you love to play mostly trad music, traditional Irish music.
Yeah, that's right.
And you might be thinking, watching at home, well, why would I suggest that that's a form of leadership? And I think that for you, because your disability is apparent, right?
Yes.
Because you can see it on your face. You can see that you have Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Then people who don't know you and they just see you, they just say, oh, that guy's a guy with disability. Right. And whereas some people who have disability, that doesn't show up at all.
Yeah.
Right. And then with you playing a violin, which most people consider to be a difficult instrument to play.
Yeah.
And I think some people would have just assumed, no different than like someone with Down syndrome driving a car or some of the other things that people do, that those two things wouldn't go together. Right. So I think when you perform on the streets, you're doing something of a service for people. Right.
Yes,
It's kind of a leadership thing because it takes courage, of course.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't busk all by myself. But I think that's for me anyway, that's an example of the kind of leadership that you do and that people can do just by being authentic and engaging in community as yourself. I think that can be a form of leadership.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that's breaking stereotypes, that's challenging people's expectations, isn't it? Because the expectations often for people with disabilities are set so low that it's down to the individuals and those closest to them to say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the life. And I think going back to the start of your story of when I first met you, when we first heard about the whole Fionathan idea was, the ideas that people had for you, Fionn, were not the ideas that you wanted for yourself. Wasn't it that you were just going to go to a day centre and you weren't you weren't going to have much ambition at all?
You considered it, didn't you? At the end of school,
Yes,
because everyone was saying that's what's expected. You'll go to a day center.
Yeah.
But you love to do research.
I do.
You don't just step into things. So, and there were a few options. They said you can sign up for A or B or C.
Right.
And what did you do?
Well, I considered them.
And how did you consider, particularly the main one? What form did your research take?
First, looking at the menu of day services, and then I decided to say to the CEO of the Brothers of Charity.
First, we had to set up the interview with the CEO.
Yeah, we had to set up the interview with the CEO of the Brothers of Charity, and I asked him my 3 questions. Will I learn zoology? Will I learn to play my fiddle? Will I learn filmmaking? And he pretty much said no to all 3.
He went on to say, you have to be fair to us, Fionn. We didn't know you when we created the program here, what the day service offers, and so we didn't know that you'd be interested in zoology and filmmaking and music. So no, we don't really have those on the schedule.
Right.
And you said, well, sure. Why would I sign up for this then?
Yeah.
That doesn't meet any of my ambitions.
No.
Right. There'd be some good things, some nice people to meet, and nice art projects, and you would learn things, but not really learning the things that you wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And we also felt like the pace at which you'd be developing might be slower than if you did your own things your own way.
Yeah.
So what did we do then? We said no, thank you.
Yeah, we did.
And the people from the government, the disability officer, said, "Oh, that's fine. Some people choose not to sign up. You can do your own thing. Good luck to you."
Yeah.
But then we said,
wait, hold on though. Slow your roll, friends. That money that you will be giving the Brothers of Charity, I want that. You can give that directly to me.
and in Scotland, that would be no shocking thing to do. We know that, in fact, even at that time, we had heard that Scotland had passed a law saying that if people want their own funding, they have the right to it. But in Ireland, no one, apart from a small handful of people with physical disabilities, had ever gotten individual budgets for disability support.
Yeah.
So we got some help from some good friends because their first answer was simply no, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was simply no.
They said we don't do that. And so we asked them again.
That's right.
And they said
no, but it took them a year of negotiating with my mother, my father, and I, and as they came around, they said yes, and I got my very first personal budget.
Yep, and the first in Ireland with
Yes.
an intellectual disability, first person with ID to manage his own budget.
Yeah.
And people still don't get it. And maybe now's the time, if you don't mind, to share our first show and tell.
Yes.
Is last week's newspaper. And this is the Irish Times, and it's the front page. And there you can see is Fionn and his friend Lydia. And it's what's this? Why are you wearing such a nice suit? And why is Lydia fixing your tie there?
Well, then nice suit there is because I'm into politics now.
Right. So Fionn was meeting with the Taoiseach that day. He's the Irish Prime Minister.
That's right.
And it went really well. You got to interview him for your project, the Happiness Project.
That's right. Yeah.
But there's just a little article along the side, a little blurb here, and it starts with. You read it out.
Yes, it says. Service users Fionn Angus Galway and Lydia Fisher Waterford. Before meeting the Taoiseach.
And when I saw that, well, we didn't like that part. We wrote on Twitter as a reply to seeing that well, Fionn's not a service user. He's a service designer. He's a service manager. But you're not getting it right, and there's nothing wrong with using a service, but of course, terminology matters, and we create certain thoughts, and it's a bit like a job seeker, or unemployed, actually, which is not even an active thing. If you're a job seeker, at least you're doing something. But if you're just unemployed, it has a negative connotation, and I think for most people, if you put user at the end of a term. The service user, the service provider, like which would you choose to be? And in Fionn's case,
isn't it?
Right.
It's getting passive. I'm just thinking, Michael, with your experience as a journalist, how important do you think the language is in things like the situations that Fionn and Jonathan have just described?
Yeah, when you said that, Jonathan, about service user, I was like, oh no, here we go again. But I mean, it's actually kind of getting better. But some of the stories like they still use, like wheelchair user and words like that, really, really annoys me. And it's all about kind of educating people. And I take it that was the same for you guys when you saw that in the paper. You were a bit annoyed.
It was kind of fun to have your picture on the front page of the paper.
Yes.
But it took a little bit of the joy out of it, didn't it?
Yeah.
And just reminding us, that's okay. Like when things go wrong, it's just an opportunity to hone your skills and hone your message, and to know what it is really that you're looking for. And the next time, I think we're a little stronger, and maybe we would actually, instead of just writing on Twitter, we might actually write a letter to the editor of the newspaper and say, come on, guys, how about an apology, and we'll get that straight for so that everyone can learn the lesson.
Yeah. Yes.
That's good. Pauline, you got any thoughts on what Fionn and Jonathan were saying there?
Yeah, I just totally agree. It's so important. Like the way that you describe things, the way that people describe things is how we think about things. So if you only ever think about disabled people as being users of services, then you're limiting really what the whole person behind that. And yeah, I like that. Service designer, service instigator, service creator, whatever you are, you're more than just a user. And it's the same with when we talk about homeless people. Like homeless people aren't one group of folk, same as black people, white people, gay people, all of these, they're not just one bunch of folks, do you know? It's like there's much more to it. But I love that.
Can I just ask you anything, a quick question? That when you see your picture in the paper, I bet you get so you're buzzing basically when you see that. But do you think it look like well, I don't want to say inspire, because that words get used every day, but do you feel as though it kind of says to other people with a disability that I can do it, like your kind of disability or learning disability becomes like second nature?
What do you think of that when your profile when you're out there and people see your picture and things? Do you think it's something that changes the perspective of other people with disability?
With the changes,
yeah. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, and and we have evidence of that too. So, I mean, social media can be quite toxic. We all know that, and it's got its very strong shadow side. But there's also some really positive things, and for us, it's just nice to get feedback and to find out what people think of ideas that we throw out there. And I mean, I think also leadership, like courage, is a really big part of leadership, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the first thing is just showing up, right? Just being there is a really important part of advocacy, and just letting people see you, right? Living your life.
Yeah.
But also having the courage to challenge things. Sorry, Alistair.
No, I was just going to say just that just you highlighted that social media, it can be positive, it can be toxic, and that courage element of putting yourself out there. So whether it's in a meeting with the CEO, like you did at the start of your journey, but going out on social media or engaging with a newspaper, there is always the danger that they'll get it wrong, or that somebody will have a pop at you, and some of that can be quite soul destroying for people. So, but I think that having people, having your back and saying, if you get a few trolls, if you get a few people with negative, that there are lots of the rest of us out there wanting folk to succeed, saying, hey, that's fabulous. You look at the following you've got, you look at the fact that you've got invited so many other things to take part, so that people don't just say, oh, well, here's Fiona and Jonathan, the troublemakers. They say, hey, they've got something to tell us, they've got something to teach us. And I think that's what we're always looking at. I'm aware as well that Michael, just in terms of that one-dimensional aspect of disability, that bit about he's sort of campaigned alongside to say, I don't want you to turn up on TV to talk about disability. I'm also mad keen on football. I want ask me about that. Ask me about like asking you about your fiddle and that sort of stuff. Like, let's not just put us all into little boxes. And I think that was your point, Pauline, as well.
Absolutely, yeah, aye, for sure. That's something that we've talked about a lot in the past, isn't it? That to see people as more than just the first label that comes to mind. Like there's people are much more interested than that. They've got a lot more.
And it can actually be really dangerous, because we only in the last year or so heard this term diagnostic overshadowing, which is the idea. It happens a lot with people with disability who have ailments that doctors say, okay, what's your symptoms? Oh, sure, that's just because you have Down syndrome. And oftentimes it's because they have a broken limb or, or whatever that other thing is. Maybe it's a symptom of having early hearing loss or, any number of things. But oftentimes, doctors sort of only see the main condition, and they don't see the person as a whole human being with all kinds of different colors mixed in together. Right. To your who you are.
Yeah.
There's lots of dehumanizing going on with that. I mean, we've got an example through our New Roots home group. One young man who's been stuck in hospital for 6 years, and because they just keep going round in circles and not agreeing to try to trust his family to give him the support that he needs, because they want to do an more institutional based model. and he's broken his tooth like almost a year ago, and they say, well, what we're going to do about it? Oh, well, it would only be cosmetic. And I'm like, well, if you broke your tooth, you know what I mean? This is the level of dehumanizing that we're talking about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just and the accepting that leadership of kind of his mum saying hello, you know, going, you know, it's just the bar sits so low sometimes that it feels like we're talking about leadership, but sometimes we're not even getting to the basic respect as an equal, as a human being.
Absolutely, and people get overlooked. I mean, if you can't speak for yourself, then it's a dangerous position to be in. And you are very good at speaking for yourself.
I am, yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
well, we've talked about that idea of that term self-advocacy. Do you want to say something about that?
Sure. Well, self-advocacy is a good starting place to begin with, but it could lead into other areas of advocacy, though, like peer advocacy, community advocacy, and legislative advocacy, all of that.
There's many kinds of advocacy, and self is the starting point. We all need to do that, but like usually it's just people with intellectual disability who are called self advocates. Do you think like who are some people that are really good self advocates that are never referred to as self advocates?
Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
two of the best self-advocates, right? Anybody who's a billionaire must be really good advocating for themselves, right? But Nelson Mandela or Greta Thunberg are a couple of really good self-advocates, right? And conversely, like it's self-advocate as a term has in some circles become like another word for person with intellectual disability, like almost like a euphemism. So I saw written recently, 18-year-old self-advocates can reach a cliff face of dropping off because of services and all this. And I had to write back and say, yes, and people with Down syndrome who don't learn the skills of self-advocacy, it can be even worse for them. Because I was just pushing back because he was just saying, I'll just say self-advocate instead of young person with Down syndrome. So really, we need, I mean, it's just back to the language thing, isn't it? But also just this idea of what you can do as an advocate is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we often talk to people who say sometimes it's easier to advocate for other people than it is for yourself. It's like, we've got somebody who we know well, who is a brilliant advocate for other folk, but finds it really tricky to stick up for herself in some situations. So that's where somebody else will come in and support. So that community again is so important, that sometimes it can be easier to argue for other people than it is for yourself. And arguing for yourself can feel really scary and risky, and it does take a lot of bravery to be able to stick up for yourself. It's that kind of thing, like you always look after other people's money better than your own money. So sometimes we have to think about how we look after ourselves more as well. It does.
Yeah,
it can
very
be tough.
good. Yeah. One of the things that helps us with that, I think, in our project, because like we have a social enterprise.
Yeah.
And it's called.
Fionathan.
Yeah, it's just us. So you could say like, oh, they must be really confident, really, or self-absorbed to create a whole company. And I say it's all about me helping Fionn and us showing people how it works out. And of course, Fionn helps me just as much as I do him. But
yes, I do.
But it makes it easier when I have sort of self-doubt and say, oh gosh, is this just for us? Like negotiating with the city for you to get housing outside of we have housing for people with disability. And Fionn said, no, I just want housing. I'm just a human looking for housing. But I do want a support person to live in with me. So you'll have to provide me for a second bedroom. And that took months to negotiate through. But I realized, well, we're doing it for you and for us. but we're
Yeah, that's right.
also making it easier for the next people down the road. So I think self-advocacy in almost every case is a deed for the community. It's something
Yeah.
it's something selfless when you look at it in the other way.
Yeah, we do a bit of work on where we deliver training sometimes to groups of people about activism. And we would say that self-advocacy is an act of activism. You're working to make a change. And if you can make that change for yourself, exactly as you say, it might make things easier for the next person, and then even easier for the person after that. So you're activists in making sure that your voices are heard.
Yeah.
Some of your work recently has been, it would be a stretch to even consider it self-advocacy at all.
Right.
I'm thinking
yes.
of the work you've done in the UK
Yeah.
over the last 2 years.
Yes.
You want to say something about that?
Yeah, sure, yes. I'm really proud that the Queen of England has now passed the United Kingdom bill to the United Kingdom Act.
Just before she died, she
Yeah,
signed
just
the law.
Before she passed away, she signed it. And so,
Why are you personally proud? Did you have anything to do with it?
I did, yeah. Big time actually, yes. I run the advisory group for the National United Kingdom Policy Group UK.
And they're the secretariat for the
for the all party parliamentary group on Down syndrome.
Yeah, and so this group was quite instrumental in getting that act turned into a law.
Yeah.
And you were one of 5 people with Down syndrome
Yes.
on a committee of about 15 people who made that happen. You met with how many MPs?
107 MPs
in one day.
Yes, in one day. Yeah.
So you did all that, and are you a UK citizen?
No.
No. So it would be a bit of a stretch to say that was self-advocacy. Of course, you know something about living with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So you bring that to the table. But in terms of, I'm working toward this law that'll benefit my life directly.
Right.
Well, maybe it does, though, because it gives you all that experience, that useful
true,
experience. Yeah. And what will you be doing in 2 weeks' time in London?
I'm really excited about this gig I'm about to do. It's a job shadow I get to do in Minister Gillian Keegan's office.
Yeah, she's the Minister for Education.
That's right. Yeah.
In England.
Yes.
And so you're going to do a 2-day job shadow.
I am. Yeah.
Because you asked, right?
That's right.
And,
yeah.
And you were only able to ask because you were standing next to the minister at an event. So not to say that there's no.
Well, on World Down Syndrome Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So not to suggest that there aren't privileges that arise from you doing the work that you do.
Yes.
But you're not paid to do it, and as I say, it's not really for yourself in the sense of direct benefit from the new legislation.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a good Scottish phrase called "Shy wains get no sweeties," which means basically if you don't ask, you don't get. There's no harm in asking. I'm a big fan of "Shy wains get no sweeties."
That's very good.
so thanks so much for joining us. We're going to hear another couple of folks' stories now. So just a reminder for folks to just check out Fionathan's website and follow your fabulous stuff on
social media.
Citizen Network as well.
If it's okay, Fionn wants to share one more.
I do. Yes. I've told you guys earlier that I'm a member of the stakeholders group for this new decision support service, which is a new branch of Irish government.
And now you're in the campaign and television commercials all about this. And it's a very exciting thing because as of last Thursday, the new Capacity Act has been finally put into motion. It replaces the wards of court process that arose from the Lunacy Act of 1870. So, as of Thursday, we've put to rest the Lunacy Act of 1870, which assumed that people were not competent to make their own decisions, and we flipped that around, and now we expect that people are competent. With support. So that's very exciting.
That's fabulous. All right.
Thank you so much for having us on. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yes, for sure. Thank you guys.
We love your work.
Yes, we do.
Well, and we love yours. Yes. Well, thanks, and I know you're heading off to some more meetings and more activism coming up. So look forward to whatever happens next. And I think this is Keith sharing a little, so many examples of leadership in action from you guys.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
So, thank you guys. So, we'll just there we go. So, a little update. So, it's Learn Disability Week for SCLD at the moment. We'll just put a link up on the screen for that. And obviously, I'm just gonna share just briefly. This is they've got an SCLD Learn Disability Week program. I don't know if either Pauline or Michael want to talk a little bit about what's on.
I would just say have a wee look on the website. There's absolutely tons. So there's an events program. So there's stuff on all the way up to Sunday. I think the week runs a full 7 days. And there's audio files. There's a leadership bingo, which I saw that I thought actually I might steal that for. This is the event timetable. So there's loads and loads of stuff, and it's all free to attend. So lots of it's online, some of it's in person, I think. But yeah, definitely have a wee look on the SCLD website on that link, because there's loads and loads of stuff, from hearing from Scottish Government and politicians to hearing workshops on particular topics led by and for folk with learning disabilities, loads and loads of stuff. But something for everyone.
Perfect. All right. So what I thought we'd just hear a little bit from Ian Stones here, who's joining me in person in the man shed. In my back garden.
Is that what you call it?
Oh well, we'll just it gets called lots of things.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about the sort of leadership roles you've had and any of the challenges you had to get into leadership?
Well, it goes back a long. I can go back.
I guess we don't necessarily want all the time scales and all the stages, but just what were the key things for you? What were the most important things that either got in the way or things that helped you to achieve some of your leadership?
Well, some of it could have been where the council got in the way for some of the stuff, because we're not listening to you, and obviously I've gone right through that and told him straight type of thing, and I got funding to set up a learning disability group with the council in the end, with someone else, with the council, which was called Golden, and we set it up, but it took about 9 to 10 months to set that one up. So physically we got it going. Then all the cutbacks came, and it was to keep a group going. Then we just cut it after about 10 years, not even 10, it was 5 years. But they only kept us going with pay for taxis. Then I set up a new learning disability group, and now it's gone from strength to strength. So obviously, it just our AGM last month, and it's got very strong, and a lot of what is it, 10 to 15 members, give and take, and you're one of them. What comes along to help with the group, and there's a couple more people who I got poured online to help with the group.
So I would say that's one of the things, isn't it? It's getting people around you who can help make it happen, because sometimes it is, if you're getting told no and some people don't believe in what you're doing, it can be a lonely road to keep getting told no. And I guess finding people to support you, I think, is one of the key things. I don't know if Michael or Pauline, you want to have any thoughts or comments about Ian's story about setting up a group and challenging what he was allowed to do within the group and that sort of stuff. Michael?
Yeah, I was just going to say well done, Ian, for setting up the group. I know how hard it is, because I'm a bit like yourself. Like, I'm the chair of my local disability group, and like fighting, or maybe that's the wrong word to use, against the council can be a bit soul destroying. But that we have got a disability and we don't kind of go away, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, well done, and keep up the good work.
But yeah, so physically I got money to get for the group going from the council, and we set it up, and again I got more money from the council, but I'm not actually a chairperson. I'm actually the treasurer of the group now.
But that's an important point as well. Being a leader doesn't always mean leading from the front. So sometimes it's about getting the group to a stage that you can take another role and somebody else can take that on. And we're going to have a little bit just now from William, who's taken over the chair from the Learning Disability Group. But like I say, you're still really actively involved, and that's so important. That's brilliant. Okay, thanks, Ian, for sharing your story. What we could do, if you want, is I can I'll just share my this is a short interview with William, and then we can have a bit of a wider discussion amongst ourselves. So just checking that is showing for everybody. So you're joining us today to talk a little bit as part of Learning Disability Week 2023. And this year's theme is leadership. So do you want a little bit about the leadership roles that you've had and how you got into that?
And I mean just a little bit, not one piece. We don't want to be sitting here all day, because I could have you sitting here all day with my leadership, about the several leadership roles I have. So my leadership comes in various forms. It comes in the form of chair of the Learning Disability Group for Lisa in Jar. It comes as co-chair of Values into Action, along with my mentor, who is also the other co-chair, Kirsty Gilchrist, and also comes as being an elder in the Church of Scotland at the moment, Ferry Hill Parish Church, soon to be Divana. And my leadership also comes in various different shapes, sizes, and formats.
So I mean, quite a diverse range of roles, really important roles, and I guess, I mean, to be honest, sometimes quite stressful roles. You know what I mean? You know, things with lots of responsibility. What how did you get into maybe the first one of those, and just think about, is there anything or any support that helps you to decide to go for that or to make that happen, or
and then we'll have a little think about anything that was difficult about it, because they are very complex roles.
They are. I suppose learning disability group would be the fact that maybe need to step up and support like Ian, who obviously has probably told everybody by this point that he took on the LD group and set it up, him and Gordon set it up years ago, and it was just really realising that Ian needed that bit more support to help run the LD group and supporting others. Bias was just a natural interest in trying to help folks, and I suppose the church has been one that's been in my life for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess that there's that thing about seeing a need and then saying, oh, right, I've got some skills that would help with that. I mean, kind of, is there any particular skills that you think, you know what, this is what I bring, these are the things that I really enjoy about some of these roles, you know?
I suppose some of the skills that I've got is my timekeeping, and the fact that I'm pretty good at timekeeping, you know, and I can almost section my day off in certain little bits, and just being able to keep a cool and level head even when everything round about you is falling to bits. It's still being able to see, you know, light at the end of the tunnel and being able to fulfill what your first initial thought was.
Right, and I guess you mentioned, like with Bias, that you've got like a mentor, your co-chair, and I guess I find that for any sort of leadership role, it's really important to have somebody to bounce ideas off, and just check, especially if things are difficult or complicated and you're asked to make decisions. I mean, a lot of the time in organisations, you might have decisions about, you know, money and spending. It's a difficult time for charities at the moment, for example.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess that probably is an important thing to think about, isn't it? It's about where you get a bit of support if you need it, because it can be easy to be overwhelmed with, you know, trying to do the right thing and maybe doing too much. How do you deal with that, and what advice would you give to other people?
How I deal with it is always making sure I've got one particular day for myself. You know, and I just do what I want to do, not what anybody tells me to do. You know, I set that aside as my day, and I'll happily admit what I do on my day off. You know, first thing it's a Wednesday. You know, first thing on a Wednesday morning, I'm off to a local coffee shop for my breakfast. You know, I don't even, you know, my phone goes on airplane mode for that morning, and then I'll maybe check emails at lunchtime just in case anything's come in, and then in the afternoon I just sit and have great fun. Most evenings to wind down as well, I'm finding I'm having great fun sitting driving great big articulated trucks and Euro Truck Simulator and driving them all around Europe and everything.
Brilliant. So that's that thing about having a routine and having being really intentional about protecting some of your time so it doesn't end up just filling your whole day.
And it's great because you see roads in parts of Europe you don't even have to leave your own sitting room.
There you go. All right. So any final bits of advice for anybody that's wanting to get into a leadership role? Anybody with a learning disability, you know what I mean? Where do you think that people should start?
I would start with looking at what you're already doing. Is there anything or organisation you're involved in already that you could maybe take a step up or support the leadership team, or just genuinely offer to help your time and your talents and your gifts and everything like that.
So start with where you are and don't necessarily think something different. I think that's a good starting point. Well, thanks for joining us and sharing your ideas, William, and I'm sure we'll catch you again soon.
I'm sure we will.
That was brilliant advice from William. We should all definitely be taking. That was great.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Any other thoughts? Yeah. So there was that thing about mentoring, things about being support, leaving some clear time, because sometimes that thing I often find that people approach us for so many that are in really states of crisis, and I keep thinking, I'll need to deal with it. I'll need to get to that, and sometimes you have to give yourself a bit of space and time, because otherwise your head's not in it. You're not able to give your best support to people.
Absolutely, yeah, so important. I think we're all quite guilty of that, especially in our wee bit of the charity sector, when there's always so much to do, but you can't do everything amazingly. You can do some things really well, but you need to give yourself the brain space to be able to do it. I think that was great.
I suppose I've never heard that before, but I need to take that advice. Don't answer your phone, switch off, don't look at the emails, just go out to a cafe or, in my case, a pub, but go and drink, and just kind of like chill out. But I'm the opposite. I don't know about you, Ian and Pauline, but if I don't check my emails within 2 days, and if I don't do any work, I'm kind of bored. Maybe that's a sign of me getting old. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's that thing about wanting to keep up to speed in things, and wanting to, and it's interesting work, and it's really, it's positive to be around folk where you're making stuff happen, but it's just as well, it can be tiring, especially. I think all the stories we've heard is about fighting and repetition. That it takes a while for yourself to be taken seriously. And I wonder about you now, Michael, now that you're a journalist and you've been in a lot of roles, do you feel like people are taking you more seriously when you raise stuff, or is it still sometimes you've got to ask the same question several times before you get listened to?
Yeah, I think the latter question you just asked me, Alistair. To be honest with you, disability is my forte, and I can speak about it all day until the cows come home or whatever. But as what you were saying to Fiona from early on, I don't want to be known as, Mike McDoon, he's brilliant on disability issues, whereas I can speak about, football or some other or politics, or maybe not politics at the moment, but you know what I mean, kind of like mainstream kind of issues. But I love what I do, but it's a bit frustrating as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Well, we'll just share. I'm just going to add to the stream just a little bit of this is some of the stuff. Pauline, do you want to talk us through what this is?
Yeah, absolutely. So folk should have got a copy of our latest newsletter, I think it was about a week and a half ago or so. And we're doing a whole bunch of things over the next few weeks. And 3 of them are these things that we're calling action learning sets. So these are particularly for folk working in local authorities. Just want to bring these to folks' attention. But it's 3 sets of sessions on particular topics, and we're asking people to come together to talk about these and to develop a bit of an action plan moving forward. Oh, hi, Amanda. So there's one on commissioning and procurement, there's one on option 2, self-directed support, and there's one on resource allocation systems. And the flyers all look pretty similar, but they're different sets of dates. If you're interested in taking part in these, we ask that people come to all 5, because it's a programme that folk will work through. Some people have got in touch and asked if they could just come to 1 or 2. You won't get the best out of it. We'd rather people came to all of them. If you'd like to get involved in that, please send us a wee email, because we'd love to hear from you. They are filling up, but we've definitely got a couple of spaces on each one left. But please do get in touch if you'd like to get involved. So they're on resource allocation, option 2, and commissioning and procurement. And then as well as that, there's loads more information on newsletter about other stuff that we've got going on too, and some stuff that we'll just be emailing about in the next week or so, with dates for our lunchtime sessions and quarterly practice networks, and God, loads of stuff. We're so busy just now, aren't we, Alistair? There's loads and loads going on.
There is indeed.
Yeah, and this is all
And that's
through our
all-
Scottish
all
Government
funded
funding.
as well. That's funded, so it doesn't cost Health and Social Care Partnerships any money to get involved in that, and it's working with other people in the same boat.
Exactly. And the idea of these was we get so many requests so often from people working on similar problems that we just thought, what better solution is there than to get folk together in the room and try and collaborate and speak to each other and share their experiences and see if the greater good can come to even better solutions that work for local people. So we'd love to have you along. If you're interested in that, please get in touch.
Brilliant. And on the subject of shameless plugging, we'll let's just share.
Okay.
Who is this man? Who is this man?
I recognise Keith, but I don't recognise that fat boy there on the screen with. Oh no, it's me with hair.
Well, you see, I did ask you for a photo, but I just had to steal the one from Facebook. I think some of my photos used to have hair as well. You're still doing better than me.
Yeah. So we're going to kick off tomorrow night at 8:00. The first day of the kind of like webinar. And it's not going to be on our first day. It's going to be called Webinar Thursday. Just came up with that name. And you can find out more about what Stay Up Late does, and it's a campaign. And I suppose it kind of falls into the kind of like leadership roles as well. Alistair and Pauline and Ian about like people being allowed to go out and enjoy themselves and not being told when to come back home and stuff. So if you want to find out about that, check out their Facebook page tomorrow night at 8:00, Stay Up Late Scotland.
Perfect. And we've also got a sort of a live music and DJ sort of session on Friday night as well. So that'll be coming up. So for the podcast for Webinar Thursday, for that, I guess what we are saying is just for people to tune in to Facebook. It'll probably be on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And then, but for the gig on Friday, what to do is to email the stayuplate@gmail.com and we will email you the link, because it will be one where you have to join a Zoom link, won't it?
Yep. Yeah, there's quite a few people, quite a few responses already. I think we've got about 10 people going so far, but it's not too late. So I think that's the benefits of having gigs on Zoom. Like you can email us at the very last minute and we could send you the link. So I'm looking forward to see Ian and Pauline and Alistair there on Friday.
There's no escape, is there?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got any last thoughts for today?
Just like that was an action-packed, star-studded webinar Wednesday. So just a big, huge thank you to everybody for sharing your stories of incredible leadership. That was great.
Can always come back if Alistair wants me to come back, or anyone want me to come back, because I've done it on the radio. In any case, on Smooth Radio, we are in Aberdeen twice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess one of the things that we do as well is we try and mix some of the serious stuff with fun. And so some of the, like when we have like a Stay Up Late event, sometimes we have a bit of a conference with it. So maybe when we're planning one, like a Stay Up Late in the Northeast, we have the Citizen Fest that we support and we take part in. And so there might be some stuff about leadership and opportunities there. Mm-hmm. And, watch this space. There'll be even more stories.
Amazing.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next
Yep.
first Wednesday of next month.
See you soon. Yeah.
Oh, and we've just got a weekend Citizen Fest. So
watch this space, Amanda.
Yeah.
We've got a meeting about it next week, actually, not for a wee while, but don't worry, we'll let you know when the next one is. But there'll be some mini events happening before the next big one.
Yes, keeping everybody in touch. All right, see you next
Okay.
time.
See you
Thanks,
soon.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.